Greetings, YouTube. Happy New Year's Eve. I received a lot of positive feedback when I did a few videos this year that basically were just historical reflections of major holiday offers, July 4th and Cyber Monday, as well as Black Friday in particular. And so I thought it would be appropriate and helpful to the MCOC community to make a video today on this New Year's Eve talking about the New Year's Day offers that we saw in the contest last year, especially because after the really random, surprising unit-based 7,500 units for a 2018 champion of the last 3 months, I've been asked what a New Year's look like. Should I save my units? And first and foremost, I want to remind people that we did not have unit-based deals. It was only cash-based on New Year's Day last year. So if you're a free-to-play player looking for some amazing historical precedent for the start of 2019, you'll be very disappointed to know that we did not have anything for you last year. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't have it again this year. It's just that we haven't seen it in previous years because New Year's is a very unique holiday to the contest because New Year's Day, of course, is the first day of not only the month but the year. So it perfectly lines up with Kabam's normal monthly goals to have these daily calendars, these daily cards, if you will. And so 2018 was really interesting because the contest has changed so much in this past year, especially when it comes to signature stones. See, signature stones in January of 2018 were still really rare, especially even 4-star signature stones. So something like the offers that we saw that we're about to show you in the game last year were revolutionary in terms of the progression for especially 4-stars, but we have seen a major shift, and rightfully so, with the addition of 6-star champions in the past year to 5-star signature stones. And 4-star signature stones have become so common that not only do you get them more in things like daily events, but most importantly, we've seen a few times where you can get those max signature stone items where you can apply it to someone and go from like Sig 1 to Sig 99 with one item. And so knowing that that exists in the game, now when you look at these offers that we're about to review, you probably are going to feel pretty underwhelmed, especially if you're an in-game player. But it's important to note that a year ago, you would have kind of freaked out because the chance of getting these things just wasn't in the game. We didn't know it. And those items that I just discussed that are now, once every 3 to 4 months they pop up, they didn't exist. We didn't know what they were. So I want to say that, believe it or not, the cheapo, the $10 offer last year was a really good value. It included basically a ton of Tier 3 basics and some Tier 3 class catalysts of your choosing. So, of course, this is a class catalyst geared card. Now, I want to remind you that when we see these 1 out of 6 offers, just like we saw yesterday with the choose 1 out of 2 unit-based deals, you can only choose one. So you want to make sure that if you're planning on purchasing one of these, you look over your roster in the next 12 hours or so, and you think to yourself, if I have the cash and the disposable income to afford something like this, what class should I pick? Because what champion, whether it be a 4-star or hopefully, we'll get to what I hope to see this year as a 5-star, who would benefit the most from the Tier 4 class catalyst or Tier 3 class catalyst, and also the basic, and of course the signature stones. So it was a $10 offer for a lot of people. They loved it because Tier 3 catalysts are still really hard to get in the game. Even now, they're not easy to farm at all. In fact, the daily quest, that's some of the worst usages of your energy because you are far from guaranteed a fully formed Tier 3 class catalyst of that daily class catalyst grind. So for $10, it was a really solid offer. And even for players who'd completed a lot of content, I think some still snatched it up because it also included a chance to get some Tier 1 alphas. And Tier 1 alphas in 2018, we didn't know what peak milestones were. We hadn't helped solve that issue a little bit. Not to say it's not an issue at all now, but it certainly is not as much of an issue as it was in January of 2018. So the $10 offer was really solid. Now, moving to the mid-tier offer, we saw this $50, which is a very high price tag, but it was all about 4-star signature stones, which you got not only a chance to choose your class, as we saw with the first one, but you got like 90 4-star 6 stones, which was enough to take up someone like a Scarlet Witch or a Wolverine who still had exceptional value at that point in the game. And again, not to say they don't have value now, but they had a lot more value. This was before 6 stars, so really 4 stars were in a lot of ways what 5 stars are now for people in terms of who they brought into Alliance Quest and even Alliance War and regular questing. So you could take up your Wolverine, you could take up your Scarlet Witch, you could prepare for Act 5. And for $50, even though that is a lot of money, and comparing that to like a console, you could buy pretty much any console game for that. It still was very beneficial. You also got some Tier 4 basics and some Tier 1 alphas and gold, of course. So I think in terms of the value for last year, my personal opinion was that this actually had the best, because what ended up happening, you also got, I believe it was one Tier 4 class catalyst of your choice with that class. So if you chose the Mutant, for example, you not only got a ton of Mutant 6 stones, but you also got a fully formed Mutant Tier 4 class catalyst by the end of the month. Now, you might ask yourself, how could Kabam justify the value from what we've seen before, from the Black Panther's Treasure Jump to the Odin, where you go from $49.99 to $99.99 USD, American dollars. That is, of course, for those of you in Canada or Australia, you know how it feels to have prices that are much higher, unfortunately. But the $99.99 offer really was not a creative spin on what could have been a really straight banger of an offer, because for $99.99, you got a few more Tier 1 alphas, you doubled the Tier 4 class catalyst of your choice, and then by the end of it, I think you formed another one. You also got like 6,000 fully chunked Tier 2 alpha, which we know 6,000 T2 alpha is not much at all. So the $99.99 offer was really underwhelming, and I actually a year ago recommended that if you were trying to save cash, it was a far better value to get the $49.99 than the $99.99, and even the $9.99 was a much better offer. So that was 2018 January 1st. You could get yourself some 6 stones of the 4-star variety. You could get yourself your choice of Tier 4 class catalyst, which I think still has a major importance in the community in 2019. And I think that a lot of intermediate and even in-game players who maybe just used a bunch of Tier 4s to rank up to rank 4 or rank 5 or maybe even 6-star to rank 2, you could always benefit from an opportunity to get more Tier 4s of your choosing, because Tier 4 class Catalyst are still not the easiest to get in the game, and if you get the Tier 4 class Catalyst Crystal, you don't get to determine which class it is. You still have that 1 out of 6 RNG, unfortunately, dependent on who you want. So I would, in 2019, move the offer you're staring at now to the middle tier. I would move this to $49.99. I think it is a very fair offer to give for half the price that it was last year. I think for so many people who maybe still need to take a new 4-star to rank 5 or a 5-star to rank 3, having a specific class that they can target, especially if it's 3 fully formed of that specific class, so that you're guaranteed to have everything you need, even if you start with 0, to take that 5-star to rank 3 or 4-star to rank 5 of that specific class is awesome. I also like the 5 Tier 1 alphas. You might want to improve the Tier 4 basics to at least 5. But besides that, it's a very, very good offer. I would move the $49.99 down to $29.99, which is about in line with the pricing that we've seen of 4-star 6 stones at this point. I still think that offer could really help some intermediate players, but certainly the quote-unquote in-game community wouldn't have the value for it now that they would a year ago. So that leaves us with the question mark, the biggest question mark of this video, really. What would I like to see for the Odin in 2019? Well, I think it is time that we combined this $49.99 offer with something else, but we bundled it as a 5-star signature stone offer with both generics and also the class of your choice. This is time for an opportunity to actually target the 5-star. Now, the dream scenario, which I don't know if we'll ever see because Kabam still knows how insanely valuable they are, but the dream scenario is to just target your class in terms of a 5-star Awakening gym. Do you know how much money Kabam would make if they said for $100 you get to choose your class of Awakening gym? Everybody would buy it. I mean, they would make a killing. They would be a top 5 Apple Store income seller for sure for 2019 because we haven't seen it yet. It is still so freaking hard to naturally dupe the 5-star champ that you need to dupe. There's well over 100 champions in the Crystal. You have less than a 1% RNG chance to pull that 5-star that you're targeting, and 5-star Awakening gyms are still really, really rare. Just look at how you still had a 0.05% chance to pull them in the Greater Gifting Crystals this past month, and so few people were successful at doing that. So I would love to see, the dream scenario is a 5-star Awakening gym, but I doubt they're going to do that. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't want to get the community's hopes up, so I'm going to just throw that out there. But 5-star 6 stones for sure, along with more Tier 4 class Catalyst opportunities, and a really good chunk of Tier 2 Alpha, maybe even a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha. I think it's an extremely fair $100 offer, and I realize $100 is still a lot of money to spend on this game, but given what we've seen in the past, if you got a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha over the course of a month, and on top of that, you got, at least 50 or 60 class-based 5-star signature stones, and then another 20 generic 6 stones just for signing up for the offer, that would be a very fair 2019 offer. Of course, if you want to throw us an Awakening gym, we will be very happy with that. But I hope that this has helped you get an idea of what we saw last year and kind of hopefully what to expect in the best case scenario for 2019. I do enjoy taking the time and doing the work to give you a perspective on the past year to hopefully assess where the game is now. And as always, thank you for supporting my Marvel Contest of Champions YouTube channel, and best of luck trying to figure out if you want to hoard a bunch of credit or credit card space to target one or more of the offers that we will see tomorrow, hopefully as the daily cards of January 2019. Happy New Year's Eve and Happy New Year to everybody in the contest. Thank you as always for all of your continued support of my channel.